Hello everyone. Welcome to the Zerion live stream. I am Alexander Guy. I'm head of marketing here at Zerion, and we're so thrilled to welcome you here today to celebrate the launch of our extension. Our extension is something that's been in the works for quite a while. We're going to talk a little bit about how long a little later in the stream, but I'm so thrilled to be here to show you what's amazing about the extension, what we've built into it, all the blood, sweat, and tears, and definitely a lot of love that's gone into this process. This is our first ever live stream, and I'm really happy to say that we're simultaneously casting right now across YouTube and Twitter, as well as a really awesome Web3 project called Unlonely. So hello to everyone, wherever you're coming in from, and so excited to be here. First, before we get going, I really wanted to bring onto the stage someone special to Zerion, and that's Evgeny, our CEO, to help welcome you all to the live stream as well. Hey, Evgeny, what's up?
Hey, Alex, and welcome everybody. I'm actually super thrilled to be here today. We've been waiting for this moment for about actually more than a year and a half. And I'm super excited to introduce all the new things that we've been cooking here at Zerion. Last time I was this excited actually was exactly in May 2022 when we were releasing our mobile wallet. And that I think forever changed the direction of Zerion from being just a portfolio tracker into the wallet space. Throughout these years, we focused on the Web3 citizens. And by that, I mean, not just the degens and the whales, but any user of any decentralized on-chain product. And bringing this mobile wallet to the market and adding about a year ago a dapp browser to this experience created this, I guess, like paradigm shift. Would you agree, Alex? In the world of mobile wallets.
I definitely would, but I guess we're biased slightly.
Yes, of course we are. But we were not alone in this bias. And I think like since the release of the mobile wallet, we had hundreds of thousands of Zerion users now switching the default way of how they browse this new internet. And I think that's pretty amazing. we honestly, like, since the release of this dapp browser, we saw how quickly users are adopting this new technology. So from just the trading and the Uniswap only use cases, people went to social apps and started minting things and posting stuff, as well as gaming. So I think from like just to share a bit of stats on the Zerion side, we went from just swaps and bridges to 80% of all transactions being done through the dapp browser. And we thought about it, and this actually led us to start thinking that extension is what's next for us, because this is the most default way for a lot of Web3 citizens to explore. And we decided from that moment that this is how we're going to proceed further.
Yeah. And like, I guess something that maybe not everyone knows who's watching now from wherever you're watching from is that the extension that we're about to release has actually been available and in the hands of a lot of users for a few months now. We've been building the project for over a year, but since June, it's been in closed beta. And so there overall, I think we've scaled up to about 30,000 users. I think I was checking the metrics the other day. It's about 30,000 and a little bit more than that, actually. And so like we started, I think, with a kind of a potentially counterintuitive growth strategy a bit. It wasn't like, let's just have a wait list and kind of build behind closed doors and then launch the thing into the world when we're ready. We really wanted to get the hands or the product in the hands of the users early on. So even from like the earliest days in May, when we were just like literally handing people the builds to download, to then ultimately what we started to do, which was grant access to members of the Zerion community who hold specific NFTs like DNA. We also did, I think, a really cool thing in Denver last year where we were giving away these hoodies actually with an NFC chip inside. And if you claimed this NFT that was available through the NFC chip, you earned an NFT that basically gave you access to the extension. And so we did a number of different things to try to bring true Web3 citizens, people who really were committed to the space, into kind of help us shape and build it. So we've been really fortunate to hear from a large number of people, iterate a bunch of different times. And yeah, we're just really excited to bring the extension into the light.
Thanks, Alex. Yeah, and again, super thrilled to introduce the Zerion extension to you. So today's live stream is going to be all about that. And the last thing I would say, I think this extension release for us and for the whole ecosystem marks the point in time when the word wallet would finally stop being a 3D fox that you're afraid to open, and then really that goes into history like that.
It's almost like that fox is given wallets a bad name. We're trying to shift that. I guess like just really a quick note before we get into some of the more fun bits of this live stream is like in terms of what to expect. We're not going to be showing demos of our extension, doing different things. We have a lot of other things planned in the coming days and weeks to show you what the extension can do. This is going to be a fun way, hopefully an open and transparent way for you to get to know us as a team, get to know our mindset and our values and kind of the things that matter to us, as a group. And so we're going to we have basically a number of live elements like this, as well as 3 pre-recorded videos to kind of introduce different elements of the extension. But you're not going to get like screen shares. It's not going to be just like some features and numbers getting thrown at you. It's much more, I hope, interactive and more fun than that. So I think actually it's a good segue because the first pre-recorded video that we've got coming up is with Evgeny here, introducing kind of like the history of Zerion, where we've come from as a company, and kind of like what our motivation was behind building the extension in the first place. So I hope you enjoy it.
Hello, my name is Evgeny. I'm the CEO and co-founder of Zerion. And I actually wanted to tell you a story of how we started Zerion back in 2019. So we were, it's like a fun time to remember, but we just arrived to San Francisco with pretty much no money and a goal of ours to build something in crypto and build something big. Back in the day, there were just a few protocols, really great teams like Uniswap sitting in San Francisco, and we've started meeting them, and we started really getting excited about the future of DeFi. Yeah, I remember we rented this tiniest apartment in Tenderloin, and there was a proper startup growing experience. So we were basically only working throughout the day and then just going to sleep in this tiniest apartment, the three of us, three co-founders of Zerion, like two of us on the sofa, one in the real bed. So that was the early days. And what we figured is that we wanted to get this DeFi thing closer to all of the rest of the users. So we wanted to build a product that would allow us to scale up DeFi and crypto beyond just the developers of these protocols. And this is how we started really caring about the UX. So as we were building this interface to DeFi protocols, we realized that in order for us to make a leap in user experience, we actually have to start looking at the wallet space. And the reason is that we can build a lot of different things like portfolio tracking, multi-chain support, but all of that is meaningless if we cannot help the user go through the flows of signing any kind of transaction and making their everyday choices while browsing Web3 or using DeFi applications. So we looked at the landscape at that point, and in the wallet space in this time, there were actually no really good wallets on mobile especially. So we realized that we have to go there. We have to provide the best experience on mobile for any wallet user, and especially for any Web3 citizen who uses almost on a daily basis transacting or different chains or staking. So we got to that point where we basically were able to craft and build from the ground up the wallet experience and innovate there, and that allowed us to create the experience that is completely different from what you would see still in the market, and miles better than I don't know if that's a good thing to say here. Being a DeFi aggregator allowed us to build an infrastructure that tracks all the different tokens that you have in your wallet. And that includes all the staked assets, all of the NFTs, and that is all obviously across all kinds of chains. And we're now getting into the future where there's going to be millions of different layer 2s and rollups. So you need that technology. But we realized that this has to work with your wallet. It shouldn't exist separately as a separate product. You shouldn't be forced to open a new application just to see how much money you have. So we got that thought, and we really delivered on the wallet experience that combines the best dapp browser transacting experience, which is also very safe. And we added that and bundled that with really great portfolio tracking that we used to have before. So all together creates the best mobile experience for any Web3 citizen. Team to finally deliver on this very important milestone for the Zerion's history. So now I see that the wallet story and the wallet part of the Zerion is now fully complete with this release, and I'm excited to see what you're gonna do with it and how you're gonna use the Zerion extension.
Yeah. I like it. Yeah. We had a lot of fun filming these videos in London a couple of weeks ago, and so I hope you all enjoyed it. I was responding to a few comments during it. It seems like people liked it. I have to shout out our amazing designer Alan's, who worked on all of this and recorded all this stuff for us. So it was an in-house team done in a very startup fashion, and pretty proud with the results. The next thing we really want to talk about, though, especially getting into the whole background behind why we built an extension in the first place, and kind of our progression to this point, I guess, is something that's been very important to us as a team for a long time, and that's security. As a self-custodial wallet, we have to take security quite seriously, but it's something that's kind of been built into the roots of how we kind of approach things at Zerion for a long time. Even back in the days when we were a portfolio tracker, we wanted to do as much as we could to try to help users understand which tokens they could potentially buy were safe and verifiable, and which ones maybe were potentially a little bit more risky. And so at the time, we built this pretty handy, simple little thing of a blue check mark. So if a token was validated, or we could see a token in 3 token lists, then we would give it a blue check mark to let the user know that it was safe to buy and exchange, these tokens. And if it wasn't, there'd be a sort of a warning modal that would go over the buy and swap module that would allow a user to at least have a moment to choose, okay, I'm going to go and do this thing, but I've been warned that this potentially is risky. And it's the type of thing that we've tried to build into our user experience from the beginning. Try to combine this simple, trustable, easy to understand visual cues and sometimes functionality, but with the ultimate goal of protecting users on the back end. And so actually the next pre-prepared video you're going to see is with one of the extremely talented developers who built our extension, along with many other things on the website. But he's going to tell us about basically security in the extension and what you can expect from it. So hope you enjoy this one.
Hello, my name is Andrew. I'm front-end engineer here at Zerion. I'm one of the people who developed browser extension for you. And as a part of our launch, I want to talk to you about security features of our product. First of all, it's important to mention that Zerion is a self-custodial wallet. You are the only one who owns your secret key or seed phrase. We don't store it or share it anywhere. But at the same time, we will try to keep you safe as much as possible. Oh, Alex, could you please help me with the presentation? I'm just a developer.
I thought you were doing great.
Once again, what should we present today?
I mean, first of all, I think that you were doing a fine job, but I'm happy to help if I can. I mean, for me, I think that the thing that we want to showcase is the things that we built into our extension that help keep our users safe as they explore Web3.
Yeah.
Why don't we talk through phishing defense? Talk about phishing defense.
Yeah, definitely. I think it's one of the most obvious feature we have, because it will scream at you with a red screen if you are visiting some malicious website or the app. Anyway, yeah. What I want to mention is that bad people spend a lot of time trying to take advantage on you while you don't have this time.
Right.
So sometimes you're in a rush trying to sign some airdrop or maybe mint some rare NFT, and the website looks good, it looks really good. But when you click sign, boom, your assets are gone.
Right. So because it's an urgent situation, because you want to act quickly, you're maybe not thinking through, okay, are there signs that signal to me that this is something wrong? So it's actually hard to know, if a site is legit, even if it comes from a source that maybe is looking legitimate as well. I think that we've heard about a number of situations where people even receive a message from someone on Telegram, for example, that looks like a friend of theirs or a colleague or something like that, and then they end up being taken to a fake site because someone has engineered even a fake account. So the scams are getting more and more sophisticated, and I think our phishing defense, if I understand correctly, it does a good job of kind of, when you're potentially vulnerable, yes, protecting you even if you don't think through what a site's meant to do or what you're actually signing over in the first place.
Yeah, even Web3 citizens, not only Web3 tourists,
right,
would make this mistake, just didn't check the website,
right,
that the URL has an extra letter or something. And it's important to prevent you and show you a big sign, right, it's dangerous.
It's a stop sign, right? Yeah. It's not a do not pass. It's a do not pass go, do not collect $200 type of thing. Yeah. This is a very clear sign that says you have to stop, which I think is good because it's basically jumping in to actually stop the transaction from even happening, right?
Yeah.
So you're not ever signing over because the transaction hasn't even happened because or the connection hasn't even happened. So you haven't transferred any responsibility or approvals. It's literally before it even happens.
Yeah, it will happen the first thing before you will be able to connect your wallet to sign any transaction. So the malicious website will not know anything about you.
Great.
And will help you to close the tab safely if you are if you want it.
Back to safety button. I like that one.
Yeah.
And this happens in real time, right? So like as these sites are getting, they're numerous, they're all over the place. They come through on Twitter and various other channels. Like we use a partner, right, to make sure that we do this in real time to protect people kind of as the new threats emerge.
Yeah. We are using Block 8 API, and it's a well-known API all over the space. So our response time for potential threats are really small.
Awesome. That's great.
Yeah, but at the same time, in Web3, if you sign some transactions, your assets are gone. So it's important to prevent you as soon as we can to do it.
Yeah, and I guess like the one of the points that you were making that's really important is like the fact that it's so easy for scammers to create convincing looking pages means it's very hard to even on the surface understand and know quickly.
I'm actually really jealous of these developers because they create such good websites and they do dozens of them.
Right. So it can be tricky to know like which thing is legitimate. So I guess that's where our phishing defense comes in.
Yeah.
Awesome.
We will stand on their way.
like Gandalf in Lord of the Rings. You shall not pass.
Sure.
Okay, cool. Thanks.
Yeah, we also need to mention our transaction simulation feature, because sometimes it's not only scammers who can make you lose your money. You can type an extra zero in a send form, or a good developer can make a mistake and ship buggy version of their web app. So yeah, we add transaction simulation and we try to predict on our side what you will spend, what you will receive. Without this feature, every transaction would be like going to the supermarket without knowing what you're buying and how much it is going to cost. One more feature we want to talk about today is custom token loans. We actually thought how we can present it, and we realized that this feature is quite close to transaction simulation. But transaction simulation gives you a visual information about your future spends. Here, you will be able to technically control your future spends and protect yourself from overspending. A lot of web apps will ask you actually for unlimited allowance for some tokens, but personally you wanna limit yourself or your spends. Imagine if you wanna spend on Uniswap, for example, 100 USDT. This is not a financial advice. And at the same time, you don't wanna spend more than 200 USDT on Aave. You can set it, and even if you forget it, you will be blocked from spending more than.
And then gives you more control and ownership over the assets that you have in Web3. And oh crap, it's not supposed to be me this time. That's it.
Well, there you have it on the security side. We had a lot of fun with this, with these sessions, as I was saying before, and specifically with security. At least in my experience, sometimes people have a tendency to like have their eyes glaze over when you start talking about like features themselves. So we tried to make this a little bit more fun and a little less technical, while also getting into some moderately technical challenges. And actually, I'm really happy that he's here. I was so thankful that he actually was willing to participate in this. But we actually have Andre on the call with us today.
Hello, Alex.
Talk a little bit more about security.
Hey, hello, Andre, everyone. It's nice to see you. Finally, I'm using my camera not only for stand-up meetings. Something more useful today.
You get to talk to some real, well, at least talk to some real users. So, we talked a little bit about a number of key features on the security side, but I wanted to just get your thoughts live, I guess, on a couple of things that we didn't bring up related to security. The first, I think maybe some people might be wondering, are about security audits. I know we went through several different audits from like pretty recognized companies and major players in the space, but is there any way you could just talk through some of the different security audits that we went through as part of this development process?
Thank you for the question. It's a good one. Actually, it was a long journey with the security audits. We made a lot of iterations. However, on every step, we didn't face any big problems. But thank you for the great teams we worked with. We found a lot of stuff that improved our product a lot, and now it corresponds all the standards in the industry, and I hope we will move them even further in the future. Nice. Yeah, it's always good to have another pair of eyes who can help you to find some problems, and in our case there were a lot of pairs of eyes.
Yeah, I was gonna say, how many actually? It was like 3 or 4 different teams looked at this code base, right? It wasn't just like one, or it certainly wasn't just us. Do you remember which teams did like check it out?
Yeah. There were Cure 53 team, Sigfold, Snow Mist, and Zocure. Right. Yeah, all of them are great teams, and yeah, I had fun working with them.
Awesome, that's great. Yeah, I mean, these are like some of the biggest names in cybersecurity and in smart contract and just the entire space. So it's very reassuring, I think, to know that we've been at least examined. Like someone has at least double checked our work. I guess like another question that comes to my mind, or when we were thinking about like sort of blocking out this live stream, one thing that we didn't get a chance to film about because it's not ready yet is open source. Do you want to get into the plans for open source?
You mentioned this nice thing. We will open source our extension. Maybe it's open source right now, or maybe it will be open source today. The latest is tomorrow. We sure.
As always, right?
Yeah, we're actually pretty proud of our code base, and I hope you will enjoy reading it if you are looking for some kind of fun. And yeah, of course, talking about source code and double checking pairs of eyes, I wanted to mention and give huge kudos to our team, especially our team lead Yaroslav, who created the core functionality of extension and built it from the blank file. Yeah, it was a great job, and I hope we managed to keep our code base really nice and clean.
Yeah, Yaroslav, he wasn't in London, so he didn't get a chance to be in the videos, but it's very important that we shout him out today. I remember a little over a year ago now exactly, we had some really rough early versions, and we had a meetup in Lisbon that maybe, I don't know, maybe some people on this call were joining. And one of our co-founders and I did a meetup where we basically demoed like the earliest, I mean, rough.
This almost secret meeting.
Yeah. Just like, I don't know, it was like the earliest days. And Yaroslav you're totally right to say it, it's like, basically building this thing from scratch. And so it's really important that we shout him out, and wherever you are, Yaroslav, thanks, because the world's really going to love what you've built. So congratulations. I want to, as we get going, Zerts, I'm going to have to unfortunately say see ya for now. But thanks so much for coming on and joining, and for getting in front of the camera. We're going to transition slightly away from security now and talk a little bit about another thing that's really important to us. Evgeny noted it at the beginning. I'm actually going to bring him briefly back up on stage to talk a little bit about it again. But we've had this, I'd say, obsession and like just commitment to UX and like user experience kind of from the beginning. A lot of the core motivations in some ways for why Zerion exists in some, is because of the fact that there was a need in the industry for things that were a little bit easier to use and more human readable. We like to say a lot here at Zerion. So like, I don't know, Evgeny, before we get into the last like kind of cool video we've got for y'all and then head into an AMA, do you want to talk a little bit about like, I don't know, why you saw like user experience as such an important thing in Zerion's history, and like, I guess like how that's kind of maybe carried through to the extension a bit? You have any ideas on that one?
Definitely, Alex. There's actually a lot of things I can say about the user experience, but I think one highlight that comes to my mind right now is this current recent obsession with consumer apps, and I think highlights that the industry is now getting closer to understanding that this, like, the importance of actually having consumer apps in order for this infrastructure that we've been building to be meaningful. And
Right.
we might be a little on the early side to this trend. So we went against the flat protocol thesis when everybody was building protocols and infrastructure. And obviously we do love and appreciate all the hard work that the industry put into that. We were kind of on antagonists in this way, trying to actually speak on the user's behalf and say, look, we need, in order for this infrastructure to be useful, we have to have better UI and better UX. And this is how we started back in 2019, and this obsession continued, and I think it kind of goes through the whole DNA of Zerion. Sometimes joke that pretty much every person at Zerion is a designer, and this is not far away from the truth. We do spend a lot of time on like design meetings and thinking about how things should work, not necessarily how they should look, but how they should work. And this release of the extension is not far away from that. So we've been actually putting a lot of effort into the everyday use cases of Web3 citizens, of this whole signing flow. What is important for you to see? What is not important for you to see? And I think this is like where we could start talking about this fine balance between simplicity and security. Do you want to comment on this, Alex?
I mean, I think that we, as a team, first of all, it's right, you know, to kind of just like as a pulling back the curtain a bit with us at Zerion, it's like we at every level, I think people feel comfortable to comment on like and like try things. So our design lead Pavel is fantastic about like sharing a Figma file and being like, this is the onboarding, like try it, you know, what do you think? Does it make sense? Does the language look good? Does the button, you know, is the button in the right place? We really do have a clear like obsession. I think internally, obsession is kind of negative. I think it's just a real commitment to making sure that when a user touches something from us, that it has like, it's gone through a lot of iterations of like, okay, how is someone actually going to feel when they touch this? How are they going to feel when they're on the screen? And in crypto, there's such a paramount importance, particularly for wallets, around the transaction experience. This is just one thing I wanted to pull out, and I'll talk about it in the next video for a bit, is that like at the point of transaction, there are a lot of moments in crypto where people feel literal stress. Like at no other buying experience, maybe in like any other industry, is there a moment where at the time you're buying something is when you're like the most stressed. Like, but in crypto, this is often the case. You find yourself there about to hit confirm and you're like, what is going to happen when I hit this button? When is it going to happen? Was it a fake site? Did I add an extra zero? You know, all this stuff is like a very stressful experience, or can be. And so I think probably behind our extension specifically, a lot of what we've tried to do is make sure that those moments where they could be stressful, and by the way, maybe sometimes they should be stressful. When you're dealing with money and finances, there's a lot of times where like, hey, this is a big investment I'm making here. Like that's always going to be a little bit scary. So we've tried to make that as nice as possible. And I think that's about, you know, making the security features something people understand how to use and make them accessible, while also not compromising like what are like need to see or need to understand type of things from a user experience perspective. So I'd say that's our approach overall. I know we've delivered on the mobile side. On that point on the mobile side, we've heard from users for a year and a half now. You know, the mobile side has really been good. So I'm just so thrilled to bring the next baby into the world in the form of the extension.
And before we go into the last video of today, I wanted to briefly talk about the future of wallets and a little bit about the multi-chain experience. I think a lot of the Web3 users right now recognize the importance of your wallet being supporting as many chains as possible, because you end up using and transacting across many chains per day, especially if you are like a daily user of Web3, because all different dapps, they're deployed on different chains, and basically like there are different some chains are more convenient and more suitable for certain kinds of applications, and some are, say, like more financial. The others are a little more social or around user identity, and that makes sense. And I think we are heading into this future of having, as I said in the video previously, so all of the millions of chains, and potentially like every app having their own app chain. And in that kind of future, your wallet has to be smart about it. So the wallet has to switch chains quickly. It has to, at the same time, keep you safe when doing that. And that means simulating the result of the transaction. So is it actually what's going to happen after you sign a certain message or transaction? And we've been thinking a lot about that and putting a lot of effort really on both the infrastructure side as well as on the UI side to make sure that the multi-chain experience works. And that it's ready for the next wave of new layer 2s and rollups that we all are hoping for will bring us the bull market. So with that, I'm glad to introduce Alex again to the stage to speak about the UX and features of the Zerion extension.
Thanks to an innovation explosion with L2s over the last year or so, it's becoming more and more common for people to have assets and investments across multiple chains. And you'd think that wallets would handle navigating all these different chains pretty well, right? They're supposed to be the entry points to an entirely new world for us. They're supposed to be the way that we experience, engage, and store all the different things that we're doing in Web3. They're supposed to be kind of like the guardians of our on-chain footprint. The problem is that most wallets today don't do a good job of actually allowing you to understand what you've actually already done, give you opportunities about what to do next, and make it really easy for you to understand exactly how your investments, NFTs, tokens, whatever, staked positions are actually behaving in the space. With Zerion's browser extension, we wanted to make it easier than ever to explore, navigate, and browse through Web3, no matter what chain you're on, what dapp you're using, or what network they're a part of. And so that means that every time you use Zerion's browser extension, we automatically switch networks from when you change from dapp to dapp, protocol to protocol, or tab to tab. So that means that the only time you actually sign a message is when you're actually buying an NFT or staking an asset. That's why when we built the Zerion browser extension, we wanted to give staked assets and positions the prominent view inside your portfolio that they deserve. So that means in one view, you're going to be able to see all of your staked positions, all of your rewards, and all of your tokens across any protocol that you're using across 13 chains that we support. That makes it much easier for you to get a true representation of your Web3 investment portfolio and what you're actually doing, what you actually own, which makes you a true owner in the Web3 space. Makes sense, right? Boom. You know when you're playing a video game and the longer you stay alive, the more levels you complete or the more bosses you take down, the rarer your character gets, the more items you can claim, and the more points you earn? Well, the mechanisms are actually pretty similar in crypto. The earlier you are to projects, the more things you try out, the more stuff you buy, it often qualifies you for different opportunities or exclusives later down the line. But the tricky thing is, especially across multiple chains and with potentially thousands of projects, it can be really difficult to understand what perks and what opportunities might be available to you. That's why we built the Perks tab into the Zerion browser extension and our mobile app. It makes it really easy in one single view to see all the different perks aggregated in one place so that you never miss an airdrop, never miss being on a whitelist, and never miss the next opportunity that could be life-changing. To commemorate the launch of Zerion's extension, we wanted to do something special for our community. About a year and a half ago when we launched our mobile wallet, it contained a special gift inside. It was a unique DNA that changed and evolved the more users did things and explored Web3. Effectively, this represented a visual footprint of their on-chain behavior. And this is something that we wanted to continue inside Zerion, and the Zerion DNA Club has grown larger than ever, and I think even larger than we expected. So inside the Zerion extension, you'll find the ability to mint a new DNA if you've never joined the community before, or if you're coming to it from the first time, or you can import a new unique background based on each of the 5 Zerion values inside the extension itself. So these would be, it's all on chain, which represents transparency and openness. Don't be a maxi, which is about being humble and true to yourself. Stay invested, which is about caring about what you do and the community around you. What is it? Oh yeah, Seek Alpha. Seek Alpha, which is about basically not accepting the status quo and always trying to push yourself. And Self-Custodial Human, which is about personal responsibility and ownership. So go ahead, try out the Zerion extension. Inside the onboarding program, as you sign up and use the wallet, you'll be able to select one value for your own DNA background and pick the one that makes the most sense to you and really resonates. Thanks so much for trying our extension. We can't wait to hear the feedback you have.
Thank you for tuning in.
Thanks everybody for bearing with us on that one. To reiterate a point that I think is pretty important and interesting is, so Zerion DNA is an NFT project that we launched inside the previous wallet. It was a free to mint NFT that basically once you created a Zerion wallet in the mobile app, you were able to mint this NFT called Zerion DNA. It was is a generative NFT based on 6 different attributes that change the more you use, engage with, explore Web3 via the Zerion wallet. And we're really excited to share that inside the extension, as part of the onboarding, both users who already have a DNA and people who may not have a DNA yet and haven't tried Zerion will be able to add a custom background available exclusively in the extension. And they'll actually be able to choose which one makes the most sense to them. So there's like a user engagement element to it, but you'll basically be able to pick one background and one value that resonates with you and make your DNA even more unique. So that's a special thing coming inside the Zerion extension. So thanks for that one.
Really quickly, Alex, what is your favorite value?
Actually, this is asking me this on the fly. I didn't know. The thing I think is very hard when you believe in something and there's emotion attached, like crypto, I think don't be a maxi is my favorite, because it's very, very, very easy to become a maxi when you believe in something, when it's emotional for you, when you have skin in the game, like a lot of people in crypto do. And so the ability to like take a step back, approach a situation with humbleness and not be arrogant or not be like overbearing. I think it's a pretty important one. What about you guys? You don't have to go into it if you don't want to, but
I can just quickly do here, but probably my favorite is the self-custodial humans. I see that you're wearing the
I get
the one here. Yeah, that's this one. I think a lot of people just don't understand it from the first go, because they immediately think of self-custodial wallets, but we've tried to apply this concept to humans as well, because I think like our space really is filled with self-custodial humans. And the same way, like in a normal banking system, you would have to trust a certain organization, like a third party, to handle all of your money and make decisions for you. I think crypto is this land of people who would want to be responsible for their lives and who would want to take action and think about their choices and what it leads to. So I think this is great, and I've been a big fan of this value since the beginning, obviously.
Yeah, we've
this
used
is
that one
actually
a lot.
yeah, this is actually pretty cool that all of us have different top 1 values, because my favorite is be invested. Yeah, it's
nice.
important to me to be 100% into things I'm doing, because what's the fun if you're not?
Yeah, if you need to write this much code, right?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, especially 1 week before release, when there is a new cool idea from products, you need to be there.
Yeah. So before we get into the AMA, we have a slightly, basically we had planned to have the extension live for y'all today. And unfortunately, we are currently trapped in Google jail and they will not let us out yet. And so we're hoping, usually it's been taking 24 hours. It's already been a lot longer than that, but we're hopeful that within the next day or so, the extension is going to be approved. So we'll communicate when it's actually available, when you can go try it out if you haven't already got it. And so you basically will be able to claim, the background is part of the DNA, as I mentioned, hopefully later today, maybe tomorrow.
Don't forget to mention that this is going to be free 99.
What's that?
Later today.
Oh, free 99. Yeah.
Free 99.
Free 99. I like this. Yeah. So it's for free 99. And basically like this. Yeah. So you'll be able to try out the extension. We cannot wait. I really not to be sort of tooting our own horn here, or just be too like exaggerating. This is a really amazing product. We've worked really, really hard as a team for over a year now. And I really think that we've presented something that is different and unique and exciting to the space. And so once we can get it to y'all, we will make sure you can have it. But now I guess we have to transition.
One more thing on this one.
Oh, go ahead.
Sorry. Yeah, just wanted to say like the feedback that I love the most seeing from all the beta testers is when they say that they've switched over from MetaMask and really never looked back afterwards.
Yeah.
And this is my experience as well. I did that honestly, like I think it was almost a year ago now. I've been an alpha tester, then a beta tester for all this time, and it really is life changing. So I honestly don't really remember much about MetaMask experience. So I'm kind of becoming a self prophecy here. Yeah.
Should we jump into some AMAs here to make sure we give everybody? There's been some really great questions. I really want to appreciate all the questions that have come through from Unlonely. The community there has just been great. I really enjoyed the questions so far. I think we'll actually start there maybe. So we talked a lot about UX on this call, guys. There was a question that came through that what's sort of like the biggest problem in wallet UX, excuse me, that like hasn't been solved yet, that still needs to be solved. I'm curious what your thoughts are on that one.
That's a great one. I think there's still quite a few things to be solved, but they are not necessarily just on the wallet experience. So one thing is, like, I think wallet as a concept started to expand quite a bit. So before, wallet was purely about having and storing this key in like a private key inside a software application, maybe in the hardware wallet, and it was all about the signing process. But I think over time, wallets are becoming this home, as we call it, like at Zerion, so a home for your on-chain activity, for your Web3 browsing. And with that, we're starting to have even more problems. So, like, I guess wallets have to do that and this and that. So taking care not just about the key, but about the security of everyday transacting, about staying in control over the assets that you have in your wallet, about the opportunities that you have. So all of that together presents kind of new challenges, and we're excited to be working with them and improving, I guess, with the space together. One thing I would highlight is, I think, to me, one of the most exciting opportunities right now in the wallet space is the transition from the EOA types of accounts to smart contract based accounts. I think this is still in somewhat of an early stage, and obviously there's a lot of work happening, and we are excited to be participating in this work, and what we can deliver, we'll keep it secret for the time being. We'll be obviously on the edge when it comes to working on any smart contract based wallets. That's my take. Anything else to add, Zers, or?
Yeah, as a developer, I want to add that for me, the most difficult part is to isolate user from the technical details. So you don't need to see technical errors. You don't need to think about blockchain transactions. You just need to use it as a regular application, which will give you profit.
Yeah. This idea of
hopefully
we talk about
we are working on it right now.
Well, we talk about like account abstraction. I hear that a lot in the space. And it's like, just getting like, I don't know, all this chain stuff, abstracting the chain away from the user and just getting them to the use case is, I think, probably a pretty good one. There's a really good question that I want to make sure we get to because we're starting to run out of time here. Evgeny, do you want to talk about the story behind the Zerion name? Like, what does it mean? What does it represent?
I definitely can. That's a funny story. Maybe not as funny to you now, but when we started, we were called Ethereon Labs, and this was like hard to spell even because it sounds too similar to Ethereum. And back in the day, we just realized that this is a bad name. So good call on our end, and we decided we have to change the name and simplify it and make it more, I guess, user friendly. And this is how we got to Zerion. It was an available domain. We voted, and this is what won. So that's what Zerion is.
Yeah, there's a two-parter to that I just want to really quick on related to DNA. Will the DNA be free mint for forever? I think the base DNA it will. That's definitely in our plans, and I don't think that's going to change. However, a little bit of alpha for people listening. We are experimenting around with some premium features. This has already been released a little bit to some of our oldest and most loyal community members, like as a kind of a beta group last year. So there may be like a premium tier, or there is a premium tier in the works in the next few weeks, I guess. And then I think actually the third part of this question, and then we can move on to some of the other great questions as well, is plans to like change DNA in terms of like making it more under the user control, give it more attributes. We're really trying to figure out what DNA v2 looks like. And I think that this idea of a background that changes that's under a user's control is like at least a first step towards that vision. At least my hope is that what we do with DNA is we make it something where there are maybe like fixed criteria that automatically change things, but I want the user to be able to kind of dictate what their DNA should look like so they can, you know, it can truly represent them. One of the kind of goals behind it when we initially launched it was we wanted it to be like a visual representation of your on-chain footprint, you know, like that was like a phrase that we repeated a lot. And that only works if a user can also then sort of tell us what it should look like. So the user controlled, user customized elements is something that I hope we see in DNA soon.
Yeah, I just wanted to add here that this all comes with the trend of opening up the DNA more. So it's opening up first to the users, of course, to customize the DNA look, but also hopefully to open up that to external artists to start working on something for DNA specifically. And this is what we're currently thinking for the DNA 2.0.
Yeah. Also, somebody just asked about if they needed to pay gas to mint the new backgrounds. No, you do not have to. If you're watching this, you do not have to pay gas. If you are a new user, it's a free to mint, but you will have to pay gas to mint it for the first time, just like you would on mobile. But if you already have a DNA and you're just trying to apply the new background, you do not have to pay gas.
I see another great question, actually, and I think this one is directed to Zerts again. So what was the hardest part about building this new extension?
I think it's a good question. Maybe I don't have the full experience because I'm not the only developer here. But for me, the hardest thing was to make extension work with every dapp we can find, because a lot of dapps right now are fully integrated with one particular wallet. I will not name it. It's one of top three wallets, usually, let's say it this way. And yeah, a lot of wallets don't follow the standards. So sometimes dapp developers use these features to do something specific, and we need to support them all to make a good experience for our users.
Yeah, this is actually an open call for all the dapp developers who are listening to us right now. So if you are building a dapp, please make sure that it works with other wallets, and I think your users would thank you for that. I think we're past the point when we only have a single wallet on the market, and especially with this new EIP, I think it's like 6.3, 6.9. This problem should go away forever as long as dapp developers keep up with this. So I'm excited for the any wallet, any dapp future.
Yeah. We're kind of out of time, but I still see some people around and there's some good questions. I think we've got time for two more if y'all can stick around, everybody watching and our team. The first one I think is an interesting one that is about new networks. So we've talked a lot about multi-chain, Evgeny, and the question is about how do we decide which new network will be like fully supported on the Zerion app, and like how long does it take? Because that's actually one of the, in terms of the way, because of our portfolio tracking roots and the idea that we want the chain to be supported fully, you know, that's actually slowed us down in the past in terms of bringing on new chain support. So like that's, I don't know, maybe we can just unpack that one even from a technical perspective as well before we move on to the last one.
That's a great one. I can give my 2 cents here. We've been obviously kind of experimenting with different kinds of approaches to supporting chains, from all the like full native integration when we listen to every transaction and we know everything about every address from the blockchain, down to just like having a test support for like testnet support, where it's only lightweight a little bit. Sorry, my dog is barking a little. Yeah, but
Can relate.
yes, especially during, I mean, it's good that it happened right after the live stream kind of finishes.
At the end, yeah. So you know this isn't pre-recorded, everybody. This is real. This is happening right now.
Yeah, but
Simulation.
kind of like in terms of our decision making when it comes to chain support, we first of all, and I would say most of all, we take users' feedback about different chain support. So we see that certain chains get traction, and our users are basically telling us, "Look, Zerion folks, you have to support this," and we obey and we do what the users want. And in the future, we are hoping to support more chains more natively without this much hassle on our end. So if the full chain support, we're kind of thinking of a blended lightweight or full support, where it only takes us a little bit of effort to implement a new chain, and we hopefully can just reach hundreds of chains really quickly. And I think we're not too far away from that.
Yeah. I think this is a good one. Really quickly before I get to the actual last question, someone suggested that we build like some built-in chat for DNA holders. I like this idea. It's not something we're actively pursuing right now, but I like this idea a lot. There is a token gated chat on Orb if you're a Lens on the Lens community. It's got about 800 members of the DNA community, I think, there. We also are planning on trying to get more involved in the Farcaster community. So like maybe there'll be some token gated stuff or some ways to get in touch with the fellow DNA holders that way. But I do really love this idea of a DNA holders only chat. The last question that I have time for, although maybe we can even figure out ways to answer some of these later on. I just think we need to otherwise I think we'll keep going. I know I could keep going for a while.
And thanks for all the questions, by the way.
Thanks so much. This is really really fantastic. I want to know, so one of the questions I think is interesting. Maybe this is like the question. Zerts, Evgeny, and then I will respond too. What are the top reasons to try Zerion versus another wallet? That's I think where we should end. Maybe everybody does one reason. If
Maybe
we just go on for forever.
Go first.
Go ahead.
Yeah,
go ahead.
Because it will make you to think about other reasons. But for me, this is because we are UX first wallet. So we are trying our best to make your experience as smooth as it can be. And I think this is one of the best reasons to try our product.
You mean like the UX in general, right?
Yeah. So every small detail, every small feature, there are a lot of discussions on every level. During design, during development, everybody is making part of every small feature.
Yeah, that's a great one. I would say, to be a little more specific on the UX side, I would highlight, for me, that's a game changer, is transaction simulation. So whenever I see what's going to be the result of me signing a certain thing, so if I do a swap, I can estimate how much I'm going to get. And this is also another reason that, like, another feature that helps you not to fall victim of some kind of scam, because you can immediately see that this transaction is trying to drain your funds, for example. So I think transaction simulation all the way for me to give it a go to Zerion extension. Yeah,
I guess just to be moderately different, a little bit about me is like, we have a lot of people on our team that kind of have like a DeFi, degen kind of background. That's not really where I come from. I'm much more somebody who like NFTs collecting, makes sense to me. But I now have multiple asset types, from staked assets to stable coins to NFTs to POAPs to all this stuff. And I've tried a lot of wallets. Maybe the Zerion team tries more wallets than like any person actually in crypto, because we want to see what else is going on out there. And there is no other wallet, I can promise you, that covers the amount of chains, the amount of assets, from NFTs to your stake positions, in a human readable and easy to understand kind of way. You will never get an easier understanding of where you are going and what you've been doing in crypto than with Zerion. And the extension, it goes, we haven't even talked about it because it's sort of like a thing that we've had for so long in the portfolio tracking side, but like transaction history. When you do a transaction, you can see in real time, first of all, that the transaction has been initiated in the first place. So I was talking about stress earlier. Did I do that transaction? Yes, you did, because the Zerion extension tells you. Once it's been completed, you'll be able to see that as well. And then you'll be able to click and investigate each individual transaction in a clear way to show what you bought, what you traded, how much gas you paid, what was the hash, show me the Etherscan link. Like, you can see all this data and it's right at your fingertips. There is no other wallet that gives you that type of experience. And there certainly isn't any other type of wallet that does that across 14 chains as custom networks. And then, oh yeah, by the way, it delivers the same experience on your mobile phone. Seriously, I'm not trying to be exaggerating.
This is perfect, and for especially like more I guess degen-y people out there, we have Ledger support. I haven't tested this out too much myself because this is very new. Basically fresh off the oven, but this is going to be a life changer for many people who cannot live without Ledger, who don't really trust any software wallets for their daily use.
It's probably all the time we got time for. I've been told actually that Twitter has already canceled. They cut us off. Big tech is after Zerion. Twitter after us, Google's after us, Apple's been after us, big tech is after Zerion. So it looks like it's time to end. I just want to say, for my part, thanks everyone who participated in this. Thanks to our team at Zerion. This has been quite an effort. And even if we don't have the ability to give you the extension right now, I promise when you try it, you're going to love it. Thank you. Thank you all.
Thank you all.
See you.
Thank you.